Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ian Zane for GCTV.
And this is my Final Cut tutorial part 2. Now today we will be working with subclips, which is a more organized way of editing, and we will be working with blading and timeline tools, which I'll explain, and we will be working with importing pictures and music into our videos, and we will be working on titling. So the first thing we want to do is we want to double click this footage. This is going to be subclipping. So to create subclips, which is a more succinct way of editing that allows us to stay organized, is you want to set an in point. Let's play a little bit. And I guess, you know what, that's good. Press O key, and we've set our in and out points. We've done this in the last video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It'll be on the website very close to this video. So what we want to do now is we want to click Modify, Make Subclip. This will create a subclip in our browser. You can also do this with Command U. So we've made a subclip. Now we want to name this subclip something so that we know what it is. So let's say first basket clip, because it's our first clip from the basket. So we press enter. Now we've named our clip. Let's drag it into the timeline. Now we want to create a second clip so we actually have something to edit with. So I just set 2 random in and out points, one at the beginning, one at the end. I will make a subclip, and I will name it second basketball clip. A better way to name these would be to use numbers, because then you can sort them by alphabetically. So basketball clip 1, basketball clip 2. And if you're going to use numbers, use zeros as leading. So basketball clip 0, 1, or else when you get to 10, it'll order them wrong, because it'll put 1 in front of 2 even when it's a leading one. So let's bring this into the timeline also. So we've created subclips, and now our browser is much more organized now, because we don't have to worry about resetting in and out points and any of that, so we're pretty set to go. The problem with subclipping is that you can't transition regularly. You can't just click here and do Command T or any of that, because it'll say insufficient content. The reason it does insufficient content is because the end of each clip is actually the end, so there's no room for Final Cut to create a fade, because at the end of that clip there is no more footage anymore, because we've created a subclip, and therefore that footage is gone. So we want to do okay, we're just going to ignore that, and the way we transition with subclip footage is we drag one clip into the layer above the other, and we right click that clip and click Add Transition Cross Dissolve, and we right click the first clip and we click Add Transition Cross Dissolve. So now we have 2 cross dissolves, but it looks kind of weird when we do this. We'll click here, it will fade out, and then it will fade in. In my opinion, that's not what I want. I don't want a fade to black. I want a direct fade. So what I do here to fix that is I select the top clip and I drag it so that the cross dissolves line up. They create a straight line. So when this clip is fading out, this clip is also fading in. So let's see how that looks. It should be a lot better. There you go, much better. So that's subclip editing in its most base form. The thing about subclip editing, though, is that when you want to go up, down, so let's say we want the first clip again. I don't know why we would do that, but I guess we're doing it. So we want to put our transitions in, and we want to drag it back. So now with this, we want to go first layer, second layer, first layer, second layer. This will allow us to keep that going. If we keep going up, if we go 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, the problem with that is that the computer will lag because of how many layers we've created, and editing will become more difficult, and it'll become a slower process. Renders will take longer, etc. So that's good. So that's subclip editing. It's really simple. So now I'm going to reset the in and out points on this original footage, and I'm going to remove all this from our timeline, because what we're doing next doesn't really involve it. So let's delete that, and let's drag this footage into our timeline. Now, what we need to do with this is I need to teach you how to blade. So there are different kinds of ways to split clips in the timeline once you've already created them, one of which is blading. If we press the B key, it will open up this blade, which we can see now above our clip, moving along left to right. If I click anywhere on the clip with this blade tool, it will separate the clip into 2 movable clips that I can bring wherever I'd like to put them. If I want to transition in between them, I line them up, set the transitions. Excuse me, I missed that click. I want to line them up, set the transitions, and then move this clip so that the transitions line up perfectly. So we've got transition. So that's basically blading. Now, I don't want to autosave. I want to delete the crossfades, and I want to put this clip back. So now another important thing we want to talk about is we want to talk about this tool right here, which is the Select Track Forward tool, which can be activated by pressing the T key. You'll see this arrow right here facing to the right. Oh, by the way, very important thing, to get back to the regular arrow, just this arrow that we have right here, we can either click here or we can press the A key, A for arrow. Just remember that, A for arrow, B for blade, and T for forward track. So let's say we have two clips, like they're touching each other, but they're not at the beginning of our timeline. And we want them to be right at the beginning, so we have to move them. If we just grab this clip and we move it, we've left this clip behind and we have to drag it again. So if we have long footage, this can take a very long time. It's very time consuming. It's a waste of our time. As a better solution to this, let's try again. What we can do is we can press the T key. The T key selects everything that you in the layer that you click to the right of where you are. So all the footage you have. I could have this 15 times and it would select, if I press T, it will select it all. All three clips are selected, you can see, and I can drag them all back to the beginning. Now I'm going to get rid of this because I do not want an extra clip here. So the T key allows us to edit faster, and the B key allows us to split clips in the timeline. Both of these keys are very essential for our editing if we want to save time and be efficient. Alright, so now let's go into importing pictures and importing music. Now, to import pictures and music, we do this the exact same way as we would do with any other files that we have on our hard drive. So pictures, music, any of that. We just go to File, Import, Files. Same way as we did to get footage off of our camera when it was digital. I already have the folder selected, but if you don't, you'll have to go find your footage. Now I have a picture of a basketball, which I thought was relevant because it's a basketball hoop video. So I'll click Choose. And now we can see this in our timeline. We can put this picture anywhere we want. It's pretty long, so I'm going to make it a little shorter. I'm going to cut it down to a pretty short size. We can put this picture wherever we want, and it'll work wherever we put it. So say we put it here, there it is. It comes into our footage. Say we put it at the end, not on top of anything, so there's nothing below it, nothing above it. It just shows by itself. That's how we do pictures. Very simple, and this will help a lot once we go to text and once we start working with text. But for now, I'm just going to cross dissolve into that and cross dissolve in between these two. No, there is room for edit. Okay, that's fun. Let's see how it looks though. It might look weird. I don't think there was okay, yeah, there was no cross dissolve there, so I actually do have to overlay these two clips. So let's do that. And transition and transition. And those are close enough that I'm not going to fix them or whatever. They're fine. So now there we go. We've got our transition set up. And so when we play through, it'll fade here. It will play a little bit, I'll skip ahead, and it will fade to the basketball. So that's what we've got right now. So that's how we import pictures. We can put them on top of stuff too. We can fade them in on top of stuff. We just have to add transitions. Very simple, very easy to do. Now, importing music, same way. So we can see more layers here. I'm going to shrink the timeline and kind of scrunch it down. Take all the videos, make them less vertical. It doesn't change our actual video, it just changes the organization. So I'm going to bring in File, Import Files, or Command I, and we go to, let's take my MP3 file. Now, I don't suggest using MP3s for Final Cut because sometimes they get choppy and they get kind of make an ugly sound for no reason. We don't know why, but they've been doing it forever with Final Cut. So we normally just convert all our files to AIFF, which can be done with iTunes. So let's bring in this music clip. Okay, oh, that's mine. Okay. So now that we brought in the music clip, it's too long, so we're just going to blade it. This is an advantage of blading. We can press B, and we can click here, and then we can press A, click here, and delete. So now we have a very short timeline. And let's add a crossfade at the end for some more, professionalism. So now, of course, we have the red line. We have to render. So Alt-R will render the audio and the video. If there's video to render, in this case there wasn't. But rendering audio is very fast. You can do hours of audio render in minutes. So now let's see what we've got. Now that I brought the audio in below all the other footage, we don't want to put it on top or it will take it away. It'll take away the sound from the other stuff, or it will move clips around, and we don't want that. But now let's see how we sound. Let me turn my volume down because it's pretty loud in my headphones. So that looked pretty good to me. I realized we need a transition here so that so that the basketball fades out, doesn't just cut right out. Oh, there we go. Freezing, computer's being slow. All right, I'm just gonna, yeah. All right, so let's ignore that because it's being a little awkward. Okay, so now that we've got all that, that's awesome. We're good to go. So now what we want to do, that's pictures, that's music, that's all you need to know. It goes on top of stuff or at the end of stuff. It can be its own track, it cannot be its own track. It doesn't really matter. Eventually we'll go into audio editing a little bit further so we can, change volumes, balance audio so we don't peak over here on the right side of the screen. This shows our audio level throughout the clip. And we don't ever want to have those red dots flaring, and really we want to keep it in the green area most of the time. But again, we'll go over that in a later tutorial. So now we want to do our final thing, which is text and the titling. So what we do to do titling, which is allowing us to put words on our video, is we go to here, this A, and then we click text, and we click text. So this creates text in the middle of our screen that it says something and then it goes away. So that's all it does. It's simple. So for this one, let's do Final Cut Express tutorial for GCTV. When we get to a line, or to the end of a line, we want to press enter as soon as we can, or else our text will run onto different lines. Such as if we have it like this, that will all be one line of text. If we press enter anywhere in our text, it will split our text into two lines. The line break right here at the edge of the screen does not indicate a line break actually in the text, because the text will not automatically line break. You have to import those manually. So now that we have our text, we bring it in the same way we'd bring in a footage. We just drag it and we place it. So we're good. Sometimes this will move all of our footage, and that's annoying. So what we have to do in those situations is we have to lock all our layers on the timeline that have any video or audio in them, and then we can move this around and it won't change any of our other things. And this is a pretty long title, so I'm going to delete it, make it like 2 or 3 seconds long. Actually, I want more than that, so let's undo that. I want about that much time. Okay, so let me unlock all our layers. And now that I've done that, we have a piece of text at the beginning of our video. So right now, it's at the beginning. So when we start our video, we'll see our text. And we can have it, of course, we can have a transition out. And then as we play, it will fade out of the video. Oh my gosh, my computer. Please try turning off unlimited RT. Okay, I'm just going to ignore that, because now it shouldn't stop anymore for drop frames. Let's see if it stops again for drop frames. I just want to test if it's going to be annoying. It's not. Perfect. So we've got our text right at the beginning of our video, and it fades out. Now we can also have it in a little bit different way. Let's use the T tool, and then unselect this, and we can move all our footage over here, and have it so that our text comes in. Let me, of course, have it fade in. And then, so our text fades into our screen and fades out, and then our video begins. Let's actually have the video fade in now because there's stuff now. So the video fades in. So that's good. We can also have text at the end of our video anywhere we want. Basically, text goes anywhere. You want to put it on the very top layer of anything because that will allow us to put so that the text can always be seen. And you want to have cross dissolve so it looks kind of weird when it leaves the screen. Okay. So next thing we want to do is the text you would use in the credits of a movie, where it scrolls up and down the screen and lists everybody's name. This is called scrolling text, and we want to click on A, text, scrolling text. Don't use crawl. Crawl goes from one side of the screen, like left or right. It goes right to left. Scrolling text goes bottom to top, or top to bottom. So now here it doesn't show any text because it's hidden off the edge of the screen. Ignore that. We want to go to controls. We want to write some credits. So let's do GCTV. Final Cut tutorial video 002, produced by Ian Zane. I want lines of text so that we can see how it works. Special thanks to Shannon Gale. Okay, so now we've got it's hidden under here. It's still there. It's just we can't see it because it is hidden, because it hasn't come onto the screen yet, because we want it to come onto the screen later. So what we do is now, same as last time, we drag our footage in. Now, ideally, we want to put credits at the end of our video because, that's where credits fit best. They don't go in the middle, they don't go at the beginning, they normally go at the end. So we have to render, so Alt-R, because we have this red bar. And we often have to render things in Final Cut that move. We don't have to normally render stationary text, but we do almost always have to render moving text. So let's see how this looks. We play, basketball fades out, credits begin to roll. And I should really make that audio longer because, see, there's our credits. If we have more names, we can just make it longer. If we have a lot of names because it's by default 10 seconds long, if we just drag this out, it will actually just make the names move. Let me render it. It will just make the names move slower. So if we have like 100 names and we want it to be a minute long instead of 10 seconds, we can just change the duration. So now it comes much slower. But I want to bring that back to like 10 or 5 seconds. Yeah, let's go to 5. That's about 5. So let's render, and yeah. So that's text and pictures, or that's text, and that is the scrolling text at the end of a video. I'm gonna actually increase the length of. Oh, that's my crossfade. I'd like to increase the length of this so that the video is more, a little bit more, just a little more professional. Render the audio because I changed it, and we're good. So now we have a text at the beginning, and we have text at the end. So now if we want to put in text on the lower third of the screen, which is normally used for documentaries, or if we want to bring our text into our screen unobtrusively so it doesn't get in the way of other stuff, what we want to do is we want to use the lower third. So we want to go to text, and then lower third. So now lower third, see what says sample text 1 and sample text 2? It gives you 2 lines to write your text on, and they can only be 1-line pieces of text. They can't use the enter key, and you can't use multiple lines, or the text will run into each other, and Final Cut will not allow you to do that. So let's put in something random. Let's do summer 2012 new basketball hoop. So now when we go back to video, it'll say Summer 2012 new basketball hoop. We want to put this, we don't want to put this by itself. This ideally goes on top of other footage. So let's place it here. It's going to be kind of long, so I'm going to cut it down quite a bit. And again, add the transitions. We almost always want to have transitions on text because it looks better. So now when we play this, it'll show our text in the lower third of the screen. So it'll fade, and here comes our text, Summer 2012 new basketball hoop. That's ideal, although I don't have footage for a documentary right now. When you have someone in a documentary who you have yet to introduce, that is how you do it. You put a lower third text in the bottom of the screen, and it allows that person to be, it just puts the text unobtrusive, doesn't cover their face, doesn't cover anything, just, allows the viewer to see who they are. Now, it's also used sometimes for place settings, such as if you wanted to say the movie is set in 1946 AD in the Sahara Desert. You could write Sahara Desert on top, 1946 AD on the bottom. So 1946 AD. Okay, but so that's pretty good. That's our text. That's all we need to do. Now, if we only want to use 1 line of lower third text, we preferably want to use text 2, the lower text. So if I just wanted this text to say new basketball hoop, did it change here? No, it didn't. Once you bring text into the timeline, it won't change if you change it here. So if I just wanted to say new basketball hoop, I would want to put it in the second line, which means so it's the lower one because the higher one has a higher chance of intruding on your video. So now this should be new basketball hoop. So there you go. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it, and there will be a new tutorial coming soon. It'll include stuff like color correction and lots of other different stuff, lots of fun stuff, more advanced techniques every week. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.